Hello wonderful people! There was a huge patch that accompanied the Ring City DLC last week, and it was huge. Like, it changed a lot of things. If you don't know the changes, you can check them down in the description, but today we're going to be talking about different matter. Today they just released another patch regarding infusions. They changed infusions this time about. And in Dark Souls 3, I do think that the infusion system is interesting in concept, and I really like the physical damage infusions that we never saw since Demon Souls, but the elemental infusions, I think they screwed up. I was really excited when I read the patch notes. I was thinking like, wow, things are changing really fast since the Ring City DLC, and it shows that From Software are being serious in balancing the game. So I made, of course, some tests to see the changes, which I will share with you in a bit, but before that, let's read the patch notes that concerns us. Increased damage and scaling of simple, crystal, fire, chaos, lightning, dark, deep, and blessed infusions. Increased damage of raw infusions. Reduced damage and scaling of heavy infusions at lower weapon levels. Now, I won't mention anything regarding this, however I guess they nerfed the Great Club / Strength meta on lower levels. Increased scaling of sharp infusions and increased damage gain at high levels of dexterity. These are the patch notes that concerns us. The first result I will show is regarding elemental infusions, by showing the damage values before and after the patch. The Dark Longsword. They increased the physical damage and lowered the dark damage, or they increased physical scaling in general and decreased dark scaling in general. When you read the patch notes, it says strengthens, and I think this is very deceiving. I don't know if this is a translation miserror, but this is a nerf, guys, because when you're playing with a dark weapon, dark infused weapon, you want dark damage because your scaling stats are on faith and intelligence. Why would I need more physical damage? So all they did with this is they gave more options for physical damage builds. It's like they're saying, hey guys, intelligence and faith is a secondary stat and always stick to dexterity and strength, which I disagree with big time. They screwed up in an already screwed up situation. That's my opinion at least. I don't know why they really did this. I have no idea why nerf this. But let's now continue with the other infusions. Chaos Longsword, same as the Dark Longsword, but has a tad bit higher fire-based damage. Simple Longsword, they lowered the damage across the board, so this is a flat-out nerf. However, the Simple Infusion gives FP regeneration, so maybe they buffed that. I did not test it. Fire Longsword increased both physical and fire damage by 22 points. So this is a flat out buff. However, this is weird since this is a buff and the others is a nerf. It's not consistent, so why did they buff this and nerf the rest? I have no idea. Deep Longsword has an identical buff to the Fire Longsword. Crystal Longsword, strength scaling went from D to C and increased physical damage across the board and lowered magic damage across the board, so it's the same problem as the Chaos and Dark Longsword, which is a nerf. Even if they increase the physical damage and decrease the elemental, this is a nerf. Lightning Longsword is identical to the Crystal Longsword. Blessed Longsword, they nerfed the damage across the board too here. However, the Blessed Infusions gives HP regeneration, so they might have buffed that, which I haven't tested yet. I tested the Uchi Katana and the Lothric Knight Greatsword, and they had similar results with these infusions. So what they're trying to do is they're increasing physical damage and giving a higher elemental base damage, but lowering the scaling for elemental damage. And scaling, it reflects your stats. So they're saying just don't invest as much. I don't know what they're trying to do. I really want to know why they're doing this. Are they doing it because they have data that suggests they should do it? Like, at least give us a reason, because this is not making sense. Another thing the patch notes mentions is increased scaling of sharp infusions and increased damage gain at high levels of dexterity. This suggests that they buffed dex weapons and dex builds, basically. First thing I did is test uninfusable dex weapons. So the most two prominent weapons I know of is the Chaos Blade and the Frayed Blade from the DLC. Both had identical damage on 60 dexterity. Identical. And then I went to 99 just in case, maybe because it says increased damage gain at high levels of dexterity. There was no increase. It was identical before and after for both of these weapons. The second thing I did is test infusible weapons, and I of course infused them with Sharp since Sharp is what is compatible with dexterity builds. I tested the Crow Quills and the Crow Talons, both infused with Sharp, and yes, there is an increase in scaling just a bit, almost 11 damage increase for each. So there is a buff there. There might be other weapons that have bigger buffs. I don't know, I only tested these two. So there are buffs for the infusible weapons. Another thing the patch mentions is increased damage of raw infusions. I tested two prominent raw weapons, the Drake Blood Greatsword and the Dragon Slayer Axe. The raw Dragon Slayer Axe got a buff of 11 points in physical damage. This is a very small buff. The raw Drake Blood Greatsword, on the other hand, gained a huge buff. They increased its physical damage by 100. This is a relief, at least we've got one weapon that got a huge buff. But this is weird since this is not consistent. The axe, the Dragon Slayer axe, didn't get a huge buff, but this did. So there might be other weapons out there that got better buffs. I don't know, I didn't test everything, I'm just one human being. But this is very interesting, and I think the Drake Blood Greatsword was already good in a specific build with the raw path, with the buff. Now I think it just got better. In conclusion, they nerfed the shit out of elemental infusions, except the fire infusion and the deep infusion, and they increased the damage on sharp based dexterity weapons, and they increased the damage on raw weapons. And we know at least that there is one huge buff on the Drake Blood Greatsword. There might be other buffs that I don't know of as of now. There were other important things in the patch notes that you can read yourself. I'll leave a link down in the description, but one important thing they changed also is the Ringed Knight paired Greatswords, which I thought were necessary to patch or nerf because they were definitely overpowered. They were just too good. So I hope now it's balanced. I didn't try it myself, but I think that's a good thing. They're responding very fast from software, but I think they screwed up, guys. I think they screwed up big time with the infusions. I really want to know why they did it. And guys, if you have any thought that might explain this, I would love to hear it. And also tell me what you think about this patch. You know, these things do change the game and how we play it. So I'm interested to know what you think, guys. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video or learned anything new. And I'll see you on my next video. Farewell.